episode of Bubwe Banter, held at the home of rugby, Old Georgians Rugby Club, and it's a beautiful place. We certainly are going to be going through all the sport, local, national, international sport, and obviously the banter comes from these boys over here. I just want to introduce the Moxinator.
What's up?
Jan Ferreira. And Matty, my boy, Matt Tamlin. Right, so we're going to be covering local, national, international sport and getting down and dirty with these boys. Let me tell you, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be funny. You've got to follow us on Facebook. You've got to follow us on Instagram. Bubwe Banter. I have to introduce our guest as well. Fortune Chipendu. Absolute legend of Zimbabwe rugby. He played for Zim 2004 to 2017, and he also played Sevens 2003 to 2015. Forchi, legend.
Hi, Robbie, how are you?
Good, my brother. Maddie, the MCD tour.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that tour. Do you remember that, Forchi?
Yeah, definitely.
Off we went to Durban, unbeaten. We had pumped everyone in Zimbabwe. We landed in Durban, thought we were going to go and show them something. Came home 3 down. But it was great. There were 2,000 rugby players under a tent, and Fortunate managed to captain us for one of the games, which was probably one of the closest games we did on that tour. Playing in the rain.
I think that was one of my best tours for OGs, because I think that was our first tour ever for OGs.
It was the first and last.
Yeah,
First and last. First and last. We weren't allowed back to South Africa.
We weren't invited back.
Yeah, but I think that was the best tour. I think with a bunch of good guys on that tour, I think it went quite well. I did enjoy it, yeah.
If you want to be part and parcel of the Bubwe Banter, you come down to Old Georgians Janarari and we're just going to have a jaw. That's the main thing. And yeah, applause.
That is.
Let's get into school sports. A lot of stuff happening. Water polo, we know about CBC's done really well, as well as basketball. St. John's Derby Day coming up. The legend and the person who knows the most about school sport is Jan Ferreira.
Oh, Matt, I'm sure that the water polo scene is going to put a smile on your dial coming from CBC. Good thing you guys put the spelling in the name, okay? Otherwise you guys never got past that. So CBC, you guys hang in there. There are other alphabetical letters. They are doing very well. I think they have toppled a couple of the favorites at some tournaments. So well done to CBC. I think in the girls water polo, Hellenic, if I'm not mistaken, they won the recent Mermaids tournament. So well done to Hellenic. Moving on to basketball, if you go into Facebook, I mean, I know you've just...
Listen, you're long enough to understand what's going on there. I see you in your Jordans, yeah?
These are my steel toe caps.
That's what you have to use when you're in Zimbabwe.
Anyway, so the basketball, St. George's, they've been doing very well. They've been building a lot of hype. In fact, it's almost like it's their first team rugby, the way they've been going on about it. They've beaten St. John's. They've also beaten Prince Edward, which is a massive thing for them. With their
and I hear their war cries are insane.
Yeah.
No way.
St. George's, well done. Your war cries are insane, but be careful of Falcon.
Jan, there is talk about Harare International School also coming into the basketball, doing really well. I mean, that's a big one as well.
Yeah, no, Harare International, it's always dark horse. We used to always thinking that the top 8, for lack of a better phrase, the private schools and like Prince Edward Churchill, that they are usually the ones that carry the mantle. But when someone like the international school comes in, I mean, yeah, that's it's wonderful to see. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Absolutely.
So well done to them.
Flicking onto rugby as well, we've are doing the St. John's Derby Day. Now let's talk about that, Marks. You've been there. You know who's playing?
Yeah, one of the big matches that everyone's looking forward to is a match that ended between Loma Gandhi and Churchill. 0-0. They ended up it was a draw.
Oh wow!
So now everyone's looking to see what is going to happen at Derby Day. Who is going to outclass the other between Loma Gandhi and Churchill?
How old is Churchill?
I must just say, St. John's have done a magnificent job taking over from Kotko. It's unfortunate that Prince Edward have lost that opportunity. Hopefully they come back and they can hold a separate, opportunity. But as it is, St. John's, if anyone is out there and can get out to the Derby Days and get out to enjoy the rugby at St. John's, it is absolutely epic.
Okay, so that's going to be coming up. Mark, so you're going to be letting us know during the shows. We're holding the show every single Friday here at Old Georgians. The Bubway banter. It's going to be absolutely epic, and we want to fill this this whole place with our spectators who are watching.
Applause.
Yeah. Okay, that's getting better as you enjoy the OG's alcohol.
The only problem is I've written applause here, but the Falcon Oaks can't read it. Don't worry, Buggers, I'll make a suggestion or something.
Okay, Jan, coming back to you, Three Woods cross country was outstanding. 21 schools, 150 runners. That's per age group. You were there today. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the Three Woods was amazing. It's so lucky to see when the primary schools come together. When you've got 21 schools.
Wow.
And yeah, you've got 150 per age group running. And in fact, some of the races, they were so tight. The junior boys, for instance, it was wonderful for us being Ilfordia that our guy, they came in, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it was just right at the end, they were literally separated by 4 meters, the first 4, after running their 3.4 Ks. And
incredible.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable finish. Fortunately for us at Ilfordia, little Ian.
Fortunately, he's talking about you, my boy.
Fortunately for us, the little Ilfordia boy Ian Horton won. And
nice.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So well done to everyone there. And yeah, fortunately I got out of there. Another fortune.
Fortune, my boy.
Every time he says fortune, it's a shooter. Yeah.
But it must
see a
just be
birth
said, look,
certificate.
This running thing is, it must be taking off. We've got 1,700 runners here for tomorrow. And they were just bagging, and I mean, they are amped for this. And someone's going to win a car tomorrow, so it must be going well for Zimbabwe.
Well,
we look forward to
CBC is covering that. CBC is doing that. I mean, 1,700 runners. You're talking about coming down to Old Georgians, enjoying, and that's what it's about. I mean,
Funny, the oak who wants to,
young and old.
Who loves running the most wins a car. I mean, what's he going to do? Get someone to follow him.
Very, very true.
We're talking about the same CBC here.
CBC.
Hey, CBC.
No, which CBC is it?
It's the banky, I think. Who's the sponsor?
CBZ.
Sorry, the sponsor is CBZ.
CBZ.
Okay,
Yeah.
so guys, obviously that's happening tomorrow at Old Georgians. Going to Fortune quickly. Fortune, Hellenic Sevens had their sevens starting on Wednesday. You were under Liam Middleton. Tell me a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, I did. I was there last year when they played the sevens, and I think they've got Liam Middleton, former Zim Sevens coach, and Danny Wando as well, the former Zim Sevens captain as well. So it's going to be interesting how they're going to build up their team, their first team, and probably to see how the under 14s is going to do in the sevens tournaments coming up.
Anything, guys? I think it's great that sevens are starting.
Milton is an absolute legend as far as Zim rugby is concerned. That man's knowledge on Zim rugby, or on rugby in general, is just amazing, and it's great that we can actually use someone like that.
Sure.
I think it's unfortunate he tries to run rugby clinics and everything else, and he is sort of not allowed to do as much as he's allowed to. I think let people who are in rugby do what they do. Let people who are rugby people teach as much as possible. So, our reach out is to say to Zim Rugby, allow people who have the knowledge to express and to teach as much as possible. Let's not hold
Lovely.
anyone back.
I think the word there is empower. Let's empower those coaches to get out there and coach.
International
You want to share that with Zessa?
Share that with Zessa as well. Yeah.
Who are you bringing
Empower
that
us.
up?
Guys, there's a big debate while we're on Hellenic. They changed their mascot from Spartans to Knights because Knights defeated and pillaged the Greeks. There's no Greeks, is there? Pillaged the Greeks. I've got a lot of Greek friends, so I apologize right now. During the Crusade, I mean, why would you jump ship? Did you watch the Spartans? The 100?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, really.
That.
Hey?
I wouldn't change that.
I think
watch
it's
too much TV.
I think it's quite cool. Look, when I first heard and I didn't know the details, I was a little bit outraged. I just thought, come on, guys. I know it's 2023 and everything's changing these days, but why not hang on to Knights? And then when I got a little bit more informed as to how it happened, and then when you saw what Hellenic did, they did this whole reveal, and this random guy ran onto the stage wearing the Spartan armor. Yeah, it was quite cool, and it generates a lot of energy.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of hype around it. So the Spartans with the whole day-night sevens, that was the first time we saw the Hellenic Spartans, and I suppose Sparta being part of Greece.
And that's quite ironic being day-night. You know what I mean?
But Jan,
They would have stuck to it.
but Jan, you know, in the time
Day Spartans.
with the Spartans, they were like the pure breed of warriors world over.
Thank
Why
you,
would you
Hollywood.
switch?
So what you're basically saying is they didn't do their homework in the beginning. And
Yeah.
you know, if you're going to start a school, get it right from the beginning.
Well, you can, look here.
This way.
Look here, you can always
Asking for a friend.
you could always just jump ship like you jump from what's it, CBC to
And
Ultra Agents.
in other news, CBC have a little insect.
Right, guys, we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back here with the Babwe banter.
Yay!
Welcome back to Babwe Banter, being brought to you from Old Georgian Sports Club. It is just a beautiful place. We're going to get on to rugby. The Paramount Garments Under 20 Rugby League is hot. It's working. Top of the table clash happened last week. Fortune, you are coaching some of the sides. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, I just want to start by saying well done to our province for organizing the Paramount Cup Under 20. It's an amazing tournament. I've seen some great rugby. You know, Pitbull's doing quite well. You know, I think they're beaten so far.
Yeah.
And with OG Sports Club coming close to them, I think it's a brilliant tournament and they do quite well.
Well, the big clash last weekend was OH versus Pitbulls. Pitbull certainly took it right to the wire. OH dropped the ball right on the line. Can you believe it? Mox, tell me a little bit about it.
Heartbreaking. That
Yes.
would have changed the
I'll watch the video.
of the entire game. You know, the last 10 minutes, for every rugby fan who was there, the last 10 minutes were just epic. Nail-biting.
Yeah.
It was just something else. And OH really came to the party. And the unfortunate part was that knock.
Sure.
Ah,
Well,
gosh.
I managed
reminded me of Jan.
reminded me of you. Say that louder. Reminded you of who?
Reminded me of Jan.
That's no way to talk about Fortune's hero.
That's shots fired, yeah, at Old Georgians. Shots fired. Okay, Mox, just quickly. With Pitbulls being on the top, it was basically they won 30 points, 30 points. It was a massive game. The final should have been held this weekend, and there's delays. Why? Semi-finals, sorry, the semi-finals.
So they did
Oh,
the
no.
semi-finals this Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, 1 March, yeah.
And made it a bit fast. And then OH then had injuries from this weekend.
Which is obvious.
Made it a bit fast. What's that CBC English? Talk us through this.
A lot fast.
Not fast. What do you mean?
So
They cut it short.
our question is why rush it?
Yeah.
They have pushed the final until next weekend. Instead of making the semi-final this weekend, bringing in a crowd, a lot of complaints, a lot of talk about why. Our question is, Zimbabwe Rugby, give us an honest reply. We would like to know why. There's so many, there's social media that comes out about this and that. It shouldn't be about social media. There should be a direct answer. This is why. We've been waiting the whole year for this, and then they rush it to make it on a Wednesday. Now OGs won against OH. Okay, maybe OGs were more prepared, but OH had injuries. Maybe by the weekend, maybe. Why so many maybes? We want to know some answers. If they could let us know, maybe next weekend we can air them. No problem.
Yeah.
It's always, and then you get dirty messages on social media, which Zimbabwe Rugby does not need. And we've had such a brilliant tournament up till this point. Why rush it? Let's leave it at that.
My point is about the tournament. I mean, if you look at the crowds that were there every Saturday, you were talking about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people that were at that event.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now you pull it to a Wednesday, you're getting maybe 200 people. I mean, so Jan, people need to answer to that basically why. I mean, at the end of the day, have it this Saturday, next Saturday the final, boom, it's been run properly.
Yeah, look, I'm more in Zimbabwe Rugby's corner for this one because, to organize these tournaments, it's not that easy. And look, I understand it's frustrating. Yes, it's now all of a sudden on a Wednesday, and like you said, time short. What?
But there's no games this weekend.
No, I understand. Okay, so I don't know what all the answers are, and yeah, I think maybe some clarity there could iron things out. But at the end of the day, look, we're getting back to rugby. It's back on the field.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. Look, it's not perfect. But the thing is I'm sure that Zimbabwe rugby is taking on all these things that we talk about, the little errors and so on, and they're thrashing out a plan for next year. So, Matt, it's a good thing you brought it up. It's a good thing you've challenged them directly like that, because, look, they can't sit comfortably. They've got to be challenged and then see what happens next year. Maybe next year they can iron these things out, have a plan early on. But, if there's one thing we've learned about Zimbabwe is we've got to be adaptable. We've got to adapt. And the reason we've got to adapt is because things get thrown at us from left field. I think maybe that Cyclone played its thing. Because I know that the schools were affected. Some schools in Mandera, I mean, they were pulled out of class. And, it was...
because that cyclone was hectic.
It was wild. So.
The heat.
Well, at Babwe Banter, we have got, at Old Georgians Sports Club, we've got a live audience who are pumping, they're enjoying. How you guys? And we are going to grow it. Every Friday, you pull in here, you have a couple of beers, you enjoy, and we are just going to have an absolute ball. We've got these three legends as well as Fortune. I just want to quickly ask you, Marks, what does this do for Zim Rugby? You know, someone like Sean D'Souza, who's watching, who's the Zimbabwe rugby coach for under-20s, he's watching these guys, they're developing. I mean, it's good for Zimbabwe rugby.
It is really good, and I think after the performances that were shown on the field by all the teams, especially the top four, I think he's spoiled for choice as to what he can do now when it comes to the under-20 selection. Yeah. So even looking now, there's even talk about that selection as being the reason why there may be an issue with the final being on the 11th of March.
Okay.
So,
the reason for that?
Pit Bulls may be starved of players. And this was the same issue. I know he mentioned, Matt mentioned that older Aryans had a lot of injuries. And their bench was kind of starved. They're like Arsenal, you got a great full team.
Shots fired.
Great team, first 11 great, but the bench sucks. Yeah, so they may be, but all round it's really good for the under-20 selection.
If you look at the development of this under-20s, the way it's gone, I mean, from the first game where I watched Pitbulls versus, I think it was one of the teams, and Sports Club, I mean, those teams were developing.
And they got reaped 138-0.
There we go, 138-0.
It was ugly.
But they've developed into an unbeaten side. 7 played 7, lost 0. So let's give it to the coach. He's done really, really well. I mean, he's a stalwart of Churchill rugby and going into the Pitbulls. And certainly a guy that has served Zimbabwe rugby very, very well.
I think I just want to throw a question on Matt. I was looking at the team selection for under 20, the big pool of players, and when I was going through those players, I could check. I think there were about 6 or 7 from Pitbulls, and these guys are topping the league, and they're playing good rugby.
Yeah.
That's a question to be asked.
Yeah.
And at all G's you check, they've got about close to 19, 20 players in there, and they're on 3rd on the league. I'm just trying to balance it out. How is it going to work? How does it work? Your top team, you only got 6 players for the Zim under 20.
Unfortunately, I think that we shouldn't get caught in the trap of, because the squad this team is doing so well as a team, we shouldn't have so many players in a national side. I mean, if you look at a guy like Marnonu, right? When he was playing for the Hurricanes, he was bang average, right? But then step up into that national thing. So what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to defend that old Georgians have got better players, but maybe they're better suited to what the coach wants. Because the thing is he's not going to choose players that are going to lose him games. Look, yes, the Pitbulls are doing well, but maybe there's things in there that Sean's not looking for. He needs Oaks that buy more into what he wants to do. Maybe he's identified with old Georgians' plan. I don't know. But yeah, I think that when we say, but these Oaks are the best in the country, so they should have the most players, it doesn't always align with the coach. I think that, yes, it's not always the case. Most of the time you expect the best team to have the most players. but it's depending on, and Sean's been there for a long time. So
Hey, listen, let's be honest, if it was like that, Busters would be playing for
I had a feeling.
Moving on.
I had a feeling you'd bring that up. I had a feeling you'd bring that up. Oh gosh!
oh yeah,
You're not gonna hear the end of Busters. You're not gonna hear the end of it.
Okay. There's our live audience on Babwe. And let me tell you, this Babwe banter is enjoyable. Fortune, you've got a good point there. I agree that that team is outstanding. And let me tell you, I hear what Matt's saying, but I really think that a couple more players could have been in there. Their two centers are outstanding. They've got, I mean, their front row was outstanding. Their number 8 was outstanding. I'd like to see which numbers made it because, yeah, I would say a few more players should have been in there.
Yeah, definitely. I think,
Robert, if I can just say,
Yeah.
maybe they're over 8.
Check the
Don't
IDs.
bring that up. That started on the group. Don't bring that up.
Check the IDs. Right, but let's not take it away from them. Let's not take it away from them. Pitbull's playing fantastic
No, they
rugby.
play fantastic
Pitbull's
stuff.
playing fantastic rugby. Babwe banter's getting very loud now. So, guys, we're going to quickly go to the cricket. The T20 final. Eagles won 62 runs versus Rhinos. Which one of you guys know cricket? Jan,
very
get
much
us.
a lot. Like you take a red rock and you throw it at the free tree forest at the other end of a flat piece of surface. You're going to take a piece of branch and you hit the rock to protect the forest. If you don't protect the forest, another guy come and try it.
All right. Does one of
Yeah. Oh, you got it.
right? The Eagles won by 62 runs. That was outstanding. That was outstanding. Excellent work, Jan. Okay, guys, we check out the national sports as well here on Babwe Banter. We've gone through the basketball. Basketball, the FIB Africa qualifiers, Zim versus Mozambique. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch
Did
it.
you watch it?
No.
Right. Does anyone know the score?
Yes, I do know that Zimbabwe lost.
Okay, so we've got the score. Zim lost.
Zim lost, I think it was
got weaved.
70-50 to Mozambique.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so they got out of that that flood.
Hurricane Freddy's fault.
Yeah, boy.
And we'll stick with that.
Okay, got you.
Hang on, didn't they used to name the didn't they used to name the cyclones, give them like ladies' names? What happened?
Normally,
Who found it first?
No, hurricanes get the female.
get the ladies one.
They
Cyclones get the man.
Cyclones get
Cyclones on the male. Okay, guys.
Though I was not on time.
National, national stuff. Zimbabwe senior national, Zimbabwe national swimming. Jan, that's what's it? 180 competitors went to Bulawayo. Outstanding stuff. Omedi, tell us all about it.
I'm not too sure, but I know that it was very competitive and it was very well organized.
Okay,
Not too sure.
which is good. Our swimming's getting traction.
and it's good.
Kirsty Coventry, our sports minister, hopefully is going to be watching us and giving us a thumbs up.
If anyone is out there that can give us more information on these things, because they are what we need to talk about.
Yeah,
Probably they're doing well.
cool. Back to rugby.
Yeah.
Back to rugby. Okay, Dorsey, the head coach, has gone with a young, youthful side. Fortune? When you shook my hand today, I thought 40 years old, you can still get on that rugby field.
yeah, you know what? I think we just have to wait and see what he's got on the table. We can't judge it pretty early because, you know, and I've heard they're trying to go locally mostly. They're not looking to go on international players on these upcoming tours. So we just have to wait and see. And I hope he will get enough time to prepare for, is it the Curry Cup?
It's the first division.
First division, yeah.
Can I ask? So this is for the Curry Cup.
First division, yeah.
The biggest issue we've had going back. I mean, I played with Fortune. We've all been in Zim squads. We've all had this, that. We've got to the day of getting on the plane and you're non-traveling reserve, because we stuck here. We go to practice every day.
Yeah.
Someone flies in from overseas who is an international player, and off they go and play in our place, and then we lose hope because we've been here running
I
every
think
day.
I think that's the biggest challenge we've got in Zim.
Yeah.
Because I still can remember in my playing days, there's a time where I got cut off from the squad.
Oh, Jan came, eh?
From CBC.
National player.
You know, he just pulled me down
Yeah.
for a moment.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, you know, I've done all the miles that I needed to do in local rugby, and
Yeah.
they just popped up a guy from outside, and then they say he's the best. And you know, then you go and play a game and you lose, and you say, you know, what's the difference? You know, why couldn't you just go with the local? And I think our Zimbabwe Rugby Union needs to do something to develop rugby in Zimbabwe. I think we can't just go now. I think the biggest problem is we go and look at the national team. What are the grassroots? What are we doing to develop players to come through to go play for World Series? We can't just go wake up today and say we want to go play the challenge and you know expect
Very good point.
players in Zim. If we don't have the grassroots, you know, I don't think we're gonna do anything. No matter how much money we put in Zim Rugby 15s, as long as our grassroots is not there, we're not gonna go anywhere.
Fortunately, I want to come in with a bit of a debate topic. So obviously, feel free to.
Here we go. The panel is twitching.
What I'm saying. So when we say that Zimbabwe rugby needs to develop, Zimbabwe rugby needs to do this. So let's just have a look at. Firstly, I want to go to your point when you said that when Matt, yours as well, that you guys were training so hard and then you got burned at the last second. Now this is going to sound a bit brutal, but let me get to the end of it. Zimbabwe rugby is not a club. It owes you nothing. It picks the best players. Now, unfortunately, like I said, let me get to the end. It's brutal. It's
That's
brutal.
fine.
Okay? It's brutal.
Okay, let him have his.
But the coach also understand that. Like I think they're also in a unique situation. Like you said, they've got to figure out how are they going to gauge players, because all of a sudden, some player who's playing in a league that everyone says is wonderful overseas comes and replaces a local-based player like yourself or like you, who's worked hard, done it. And
I have the answer, I have the answer. Gosh rugby, people.
Yeah.
There was always Zimbabwe rugby.
The gosh hawks.
Gosh hawks. Right. Where could we as locals prove ourselves against the
men's
so-called
side.
international players?
Next,
Right.
Before we got there, I think what we need to do, I still remember when I started playing rugby, there was provincial rugby. You know, before a national team being selected, you go and play provincial rugby. You know, where you go play your Martland.
No, well, black and white. Look, let's be honest, Forge. We went and did that. Even on black and white, we got chosen in. We went to Bulawayo, Mashonaland, lost to Marabiland, as they were.
When was that?
Yes, when we were playing for country districts, by the way. But anyway, the point is, we would get chosen. So why not choose a strong Gosh Hawks team that then gets to do Zambia, gets to go and play some international form of rugby, then bring in those internationals as the Sables, and then bring them together and put them against each other to honestly see if the locals have what it takes to do what Jan is saying, to come to where they come. Because some of us go, they play for Division 5 in Germany and come back and say an international rugby player.
True.
But isn't it an issue sometimes that, you know, yes, you've done your bit, you've trained, you've been part of the squads and everything, but someone got identified and was pulled into Sharks or some university, big university, and given a full scholarship to play for that university. But you couldn't because, well...
Max, you're talking about certain individuals. I'm talking about guys that left Zimbabwe that couldn't make OGs, went to Zambia and made Zambia. Right?
That's the point.
I'm not talking about them.
And played national country because he was a so-called international player. I'm just saying, why not bring them in and let them play?
But is that still happening though?
Is
that still happening?
Is this...
If you're talking about Sables right now, there are very few local players.
Okay. Look,
All right.
I think maybe that's why Dorsey is selecting a youthful side. That could potentially be the reason that he's giving the guys the opportunity that are playing in Zimbabwe to play for the country. And I agree. I mean, you know, for guys playing overseas, it's very difficult because, you know, the cost to bring that guy to South Africa and to the division. I mean, I know from Sables last year, the amount of money that they had to pay just to bring the 25 players and then the 6 or 7 players that came from Zimbabwe. So the whole...
What I'm saying is bring them, make a local team, let them play
It's
against
Goshawks.
and prove that what you have chosen is right.
Yeah.
Because OH won the tournament, and there was like 2 Oaks in the Sables team. If they to prove that they are that good, let them play against them, and let's have a Goshawks versus Zimbabwe open game, so we can all see the difference. If it's 95-0, we know we're wrong.
I'll raise you one on that, Matt. So earlier you mentioned the black and white, the old interprovincial tournament.
Okay.
So now, if I'm with the schools currently, each province chooses the best from their province, and in the national selectors are already choosing the best of the best. At the moment, the Sables are choosing from everyone. There's no like layered thing for them to choose. So it's not like they get to choose creams. They've got the entire crop to look at, and there's one or two guys we get behind. They feel salty or they feel let down. Yes, understood. But you know, like I said earlier, the national side, they've got to find. So then why don't we challenge the various provinces? They need to get their act together. We play a black and white tournament again with the interprovincial, and then the Sables have now they've only got to choose from the 5 provinces rather than the entirety of clubs.
From the Goshawks that have made it from our
or whatever.
Yeah.
From what we
Look,
but the thing is there's no feeding system.
Yeah, well, let's
So it's
create
all-
the feeding system.
Jan, you and Matt have got brilliant points, and I think Fortune as well. I mean, those points as well, Mox. Great points. We're going to come back after the break. International stuff, Formula E in Cape Town, that happened last week. We've also got a lot of rugby, more rugby banter, Six Nations, Springboks, as well as Matt's favorites, UFC. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Zimbabwe Banter, right here at Old Georgians in Harare. It's going really well, boys. Enjoying it. We're checking out quickly. Incoming tour, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, coming to South Africa. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Just looking at South Africa losing to Australia in Australia. Now they're coming down to South Africa, and I don't know if Fred is going to be there as well. I think these guys are in for a big one. I think South Africa, they were going to try and pull it back because they haven't won anything in Australia. So I think it's going to be quite interesting.
Let's talk about Eddie Jones for a minute. He has the best record at World Cup record. I think it's 97% where he is. He's basically, as a coach, England bid him. Yeah?
Idiots. Idiots. I won't even lie.
I mean, the king.
Okay, so for me the biggest issue that England had was the Saracens. I mean, remember those guys got they got dropped a level. They went to the championship because of money overspending and what have you. And then Eddie showed some loyalty to those players, but they were playing at a rubbish level. So now those same guys are playing for England, okay, and they're not performing, but he showed the loyalty, yet they're not getting the results. And then instead of the RFU actually understanding Eddie's predicament, he's trying to keep his core players. Maybe he should have changed it. Yeah, maybe. He should have probably seen that, but you know, hindsight 2020. Anyway, so now he's stuck with it. They were getting better. Yes, they were the whipping boys of the last Six Nations, etc. But yeah, for them to beat Eddie. Maybe. Hang on, but dude, look at what England did at the end of year. Okay, so they lose to the Springboks and they beat the All Blacks, and
dude, maybe Eddie knows what he's doing.
yeah,
Maybe. He's only got them from where they were in the Six Nations. Before the last World Cup, they were getting smacked the same. But come the World Cup, Eddie knows what he's doing. So you bid an oak because he knows what he's doing. It's like building a car. You start putting this tire on, you put this, and then they're like, oh, your car sucks. Just before you've got it to where it's perfect. They are mad, as far as I'm concerned.
They've binned him at the wrong time, That's my opinion. They put him at the wrong time. Eddie is going to be a massive factor for Australia.
Australia just wins.
Because, you know, well, for me, I looked at Eddie Jones and I was thinking, him going to coach Australia now he's a whole different ballgame. He knows going to take that Southern Hemisphere rugby. He's done his homework, and now he's going to take that. Robinson Razor was like, look,
Yes.
sack him, sack Foster, take me.
We'll talk about that quickly. Ian Foster is giving up after World Cup. Who takes over? I've got to say, you've got such a good point, Scott Robertson. Boys?
Listen, all I can say is everyone says, get rid of this, get rid of this. He did such a good end of the year tour.
Yeah.
And he may, if he gets the right captain. I know people are saying, you know what, Adi Sevilla is the leader of the Maoris, put it that way. And there are so many Maoris in that team. If he can pull himself and get aggressive and pull them towards himself.
Let's have a quick vote. Eddie Jones, listen, quick vote. Eddie Jones moving to Australia. Has it made Australia better?
Has it made Australia? Wow.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to throw you think. Okay, I'm going to throw the angry mother-in-law into the wedding here.
Do you think he's one of the changes? Because what Dave really has done.
Change. Yes, the Australian public, all of us, we think because he's British.
Yes. You take us. When you tackle someone's beer on the main side, it's a problem.
Look, when you tackle someone's beer, it's funny for everyone else, but not for the guys that. So what I'm trying to say is the change will Eddie walk in to a stubborn change that like you don't deserve to be here. We were with Dave Rennie because it's just those are the guys that have to perform, and that might be his only big stand.
I think just to end there, Eddie Jones has been the most successful World Cups. I think the players would be absolutely stupid if they don't listen to Eddie Jones to take them into win the World Cup.
Exactly.
Guys, quickly, Six Nations, no Six Nations this week. Next week it's happening. Big issues with Wales.
Yeah, big issues. Wales refused to walk in the pitch. What was the point there? Tell us.
Yeah, so they went, there was contract issues. The union was saying that they were going to cut the contracts, or that they didn't have as much money to spend on their 4 teams that are in the URC. So that ultimately meant that some were going to get reduced pay, and they made a stand. And they tried to negotiate. They said to the guys, but there's money in the budget because you guys are using money to develop the stadium, etc. Why can that not be used for the players? Because the stadium's really quite nice.
Okay, boys, let's wrap it up. Who's going to win the World Cup?
New Zealand.
My heart says South Africa.
South Africa!
Right, crowd, who's going to win the Rugby World Cup? Walker. Right, so that's the rugby. Okay, that's a wrap of the rugby, guys. Bubway banter coming up. Formula E was held in Cape Town last weekend. Cape Town put on a show, but let me tell you, Formula E is like going to war without bullets. It really is. It's
like scale electrics.
It's scale electrics. Right, have you heard these things make a noise?
Yeah, I have heard, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a little whinging noise that goes past. But it sounds like it. But let's just ask Fortune. Fortune, how did you get your OGs?
You know, there's this guy.
I'm sure we beat them often, eh? We beat them often.
I still remember there was this guy called Robbie Durant. I think it was 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
You know, he approached me and like, Fortune, do you want to come and play some good rugby at a good club? You know, because
it was more drinking back then.
Yeah, more drinking and I was like, okay, I needed to grow my rugby, and then I moved to OGs. But I just want to say thanks to you.
Gentlemen, can you not complicate it? That was district.
It was districts back then.
True.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, that was our best times of rugby.
Definitely.
We had Tuesdays, Thursdays we used to lock the gate so Oaks couldn't get out the bar.
And after
But it was
game,
good times.
No one used to go home, and
It was good
everyone
times.
used to stay here and have a beer. I think that's what we're lacking in nowadays rugby. After every match, people just gone,
Yeah.
vanished. But back in the day, you used to go after rugby. Everyone stays up to following day.
Well, here's a theory for you. Okay, we're gonna call it stink and drink. You go to the bar and you stink, you get a drink discount. They'll stay. Stink and drink, people.
Question. What did you enjoy more, 7s or 15s?
Yay. That's a pretty tough one.
What? It's 15s.
No. I promise you, 7s was much fun because you've got all the space in the field and you can run around. Although I was the slowest guy in the Zim 7 squad.
He's still fit, eh? He's still
But
fit.
7s was quite fun, and I enjoyed 7s because you get to travel a lot more than 15s. Not 15 that they don't travel, but 7s you've got more tours than 15s.
Did you behave on tour?
Yeah.
What happens on tour stays on tour.
What goes on tour stays on tour. Right, guys, events coming up here. We're going to be covering events. So if you've got events, throw it onto our Facebook page, which is Babwe Banter. Throw it onto our Instagram. We'll share it for you. For example, we've got a really cool poster here. It's the scooters and donkeys, and we've actually got a renter crowd right here. Hi, guys. It's amazing when you mention their name, then they wake up. Right, so you got to listen to this. It is happening. KwaZulu-Natal is coming down to Zimbabwe. It's going to be happening 107 Skillers Road, Rua. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about this. You went to it last year.
Yeah, so this is an invitational. KwaZulu-Natal are coming down to visit us. It's a very family-oriented. How up?
Coming up to Zim.
Like the globe. Yes,
Okay, good. So they're coming up to us, and basically it's horses versus motorbikes, and it is pretty interesting. I was there last year, and it's closer than you would think. People think motorbikes are gonna smash the horses, and as it gets down to it, it gets pretty close. And it's pretty cool that South Africa is setting up horses and motorbikes to enjoy with our people, and a very great family-orientated day. If you could all come out and enjoy with them and celebrate the day. If you've got children, family, if you like motorbikes, if you like horses, please come out. There will be everything for the family to do, so please come and join us. It'll be a great day.
That's awesome, Matt. Check out our Facebook page. You're going to see that, and it's got all the details, when, where, costs, all that type of stuff. There's also a massive party happening afterwards. We did talk to them and say, listen, by the time this grows, the Babwe Banter is going to be going with them to KwaZulu-Natal next year. Sweet. Right. Other stuff coming up. Husqvarna Mud Run is happening, as well as the Chigutu Touch Bowl. I mean, that has just grown into a formidable thing. Jan?
Yeah. So if you are looking for a team and you have no friends to play with, please call one of us and you can come play for one of ours. They're not very good. Ours is very good.
We shout out to Maddie and his squad. 3 teams. You're taking 3 teams.
Oh, well done, Matt.
So yeah, we won the B division and we're in the final of the A division last year, and we're hoping to take a clean sweep this year. So let's see what happens. Stand and laugh.
Nice. Okay, Maddie, that's great work, empowering the guys. That's excellent work. Right, we just got a couple of discussion points. We have a question from one of our audience. Solomon, you've got something for a Zimbabwe question. Solomon, directed at who? And yeah, far away.
This question is directed to Matt. I'm deeply troubled with the separation or the gap between our schools rugby, especially the high school rugby, and the elevation of those players to provincial sides or even to the national side. Because like now we're getting to the second term, we watch a lot of good rugby. I can tell you something similar to the South African system, and you got these good players who are coming up. Then all of a sudden, like now after the under-20 tournament, you don't see them anymore. And now we keep on talking about rebuilding. What do we really need to do so that we explore these talents and we make a great Zimbabwean side? And I personally feel that you look at Italy, for example, it's not about the coach. It's about the system which has been put into place, which is now yielding results. What do we need to do as a nation so that we tap into that talent and we get results we're looking for? Because it's so embarrassing, that's massive of our players. You end up seeing them in the next 4 years playing for other nations in the coming World Cup. Thank you.
Thank you, Solo. I actually have a very good solution to what you're talking about. I believe that an academy team needs to be formed. I believe that we need to approach J.R. Goddard, machinery exchange, companies that are big enough to facilitate looking after young players that range from when they leave school to maybe 21, 22, just to give them a base where they can just do academy rugby and they can go to work every day and get something behind them. They'll get paid for learning a skill, and that they will then have an academy to run in the league. So you've got OH, you've got sports club, you've got OGs, and you've got the academy. And I think that's something that we need to focus on. We've got to shout out and busters. So maybe we could have two academies. We could have a Bulawayo Academy and we could have a Harare Academy where we approach big companies that can help us assist with taking kids out of school so they don't run away from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
We can give them a basis to work from. And I really believe that this is one of the reasons we started this show, is to approach those type of things. And to say to people like J.R. Goddard, or Machinery Exchange, or whichever of the big companies out there can put forward a little bit of money, a little bit of time to look after these kids and say to them, hey, you don't need to run away to leave Zimbabwe to go play rugby elsewhere. Why don't you come play rugby for your academy? Get a trade, a real trade, and get paid for it whilst you're doing it. Be a part of the academy, and at least when they leave the academy, they have a trade and they're a proper rugby player. And I believe that's something we need to look at. And I thank you for bringing it in.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Look, I'd like to throw some sentiment behind it, because you look at our Craven Week, I was saying to Fortune earlier, all our players, if you look at the makeup of the Sables side and the makeup of the Craven Week side, how many Craven Week players progressed to Sables? It started getting better now, but the thing is our school leavers, never mind the guys that make Craven Week, they are leaving Zimbabwe in search of greener pastures straight after school. So our tertiary, by providing an academy like that, will start to keep one or two players back. I was chatting to someone earlier, and they were saying also, the identification process by the private schools to give other people opportunities, where back in the day, it was a wide net cast. Now it's less and less.
But forget about the private schools. The government schools are millions of people. We need to start at the grassroots of primary government schools to give them an incentive to play rugby. They don't want to play rugby because there's nothing at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Give them an end goal.
Very, very good point. You're passionate about that, about the empowerment of schools that are not necessarily top of the log. I know that there is actually an Easter festival happening at Hartsfield. Schools rugby, where we've got the Churchills, we've got the let's say the lower teams that are playing, but it gives them an opportunity to perform.
Yeah, I think just going back on Matt, that's a good point that he brought up. Most people, they think I went to Peter House or Falcon or Churchill, but I came up from Mavuko. That's why I started playing my rugby, and I promise you, there are more better players and good quality players, but there's no one going to look for those players in Zim, and we need people to go and invest in those schools, and that's the only way.
We don't need to focus at private school. We need to
focus on
at the mass play. South Africa are top of the world because they went back to making the African players strong, and we need to do that. We need to go back to the grassroots. The numbers are not at private schools.
schools.
But you hit the nail on the head. Corporates have to stand up. Academy like that has to be supported by corporates. It has to be given the full go-ahead. And let me tell you, the diamonds in the rough are there. I know from South Africa we do that. Rural rugby, we pulled 23 kids from 400 kids came together, 23 kids. That same team went and beat Western Province at under 15 level. So it's got to happen.
Why can't we do it here? Yeah.
It needs to happen.
Marks, you can finish off.
And I agree with you, because even the mission schools also have some quality rugby players in there as well.
Yeah.
Together with the government schools, they used to have a great league going on, and that needs to come back, because like you said, if you go back and empower those young players, and they come through and they play that, they begin to see the level of rugby that they can be exposed to, they can become better players and go on to show their talent. They love it, absolutely.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the Babwe Banter, the first ever here at Old Georgians Sports Club. Next weekend, Friday night, 5 till 6. Please pop in. This went a little bit later, but well done, guys. Thank you very much. Fortune, as our guest, thank you very much. Good luck with your future. Yeah. Fortune Chipendu is certainly one of the servants of Zimbabwe rugby. Wish you all the best, you and your family. And if you can start playing again, it'll also be great. To our live audience, thank you very much. To our camera crew who do such a fantastic job, thank you guys. Boys, thank you. Catch you next week. Don't forget to follow Babwe Banter on Facebook and Instagram. It's all started. Cheers.